We're off again on the return journey to Swanage. As we watch the castle disappear into the distance, the track climbs at a rate of 1 in 80. We're now approaching Corfe Common, and the line cuts through very picturesque rolling countryside. By 1948, when the railways were nationalised, the passenger services to Swanage had increased from Mondays to Fridays to 12 trains a day. These were normally made up of 2 or 3 coaches headed by a tank engine. Over holiday peak periods, light Pacifics headed trains that came here direct from Waterloo. This heyday for the line didn't last long, however, as in the early 1960s, passenger traffic began to dwindle quickly. The line was eventually closed in 1972, and on the 1st of January that year, the last passenger train left Swanage at 10:15. For this, the last train of a service that had lasted for 87 years, special commemorative tickets were printed and sold at 50p each. We're waiting outside the station that's at the summit of the line, Harmon's Cross. In 1972, many attempts were made to prevent the lifting of the track, as preservation groups tried to save the branch. But by August, the track was gone, except for the section from Fursbrook that headed northwards to Wargate Station. And there she is again, the old Flockton Flyer. Between 1972 and 1979, when it was agreed by the Dorset County Council that track could start being relayed, too much happened to retell here. Needless to say, the Swanage Railway Society and the people of Swanage won a long, hard fight to save their railway. Just after we leave Harmon's Cross, we pass under a road bridge. Then we enter a short cut-in. Here we will be on a descending gradient of about 1 in 76. That's the Qua Farm crossing, which means we will shortly be entering a wooded area called the Wilderness. It's about 3/4 of a mile long. That crossing is called the Ponderosa Farm crossing. From here we will be entering into another cutting before going under the A351. The bridge here is known as the Nursery Bridge. Just ahead is the Washpond Lane Bridge, after which is Hurston Station. The station's very crowded today, but I visited it yesterday when no one was here, and I took a few shots while I waited for 80078 to thunder through on its way to Swanage. For over 2 decades, units from the British Army have helped the Swanage Railway project in a great deal of different ways, creating a unique relationship. Each year, joint forces from the Army and staff from the railway try to select 3 major projects to complete. It's that kind of partnership. For example, in 2004, new steps and a disabled ramp were built here at Hurston by the soldiers to celebrate the 20th anniversary of the link between the railway and the Royal Signals. This station is certainly surrounded by beautiful countryside. I'm told if you look carefully you might see deer, and there's certainly a few buzzards that grace the skies. And here she comes at last, 80078, showing us what she can do. It's our own turn to steam on down to Swanage now. From here the line falls at 1 in 300 at first, later it steepens to 1 in 110. Returning briefly to the contribution the Army has made in helping to restore this line, the Royal Corps of Signals has made a huge contribution laying cables and working on exchanges. Many of the soldiers who worked on the line were keen to become members of the society, some paying £350 each to join. This led to the formation of the Mercury Group in 1992, which is part of the Swanage Trust. In July 2004, in recognition of over 20 years' support to the line, the 11th Signal Regiment was given the liberty of the town by the Swanage Council. Well, here we are back at Swanage Station, and we've just got a few minutes left to have a look round the stockyard. As you can see, these coaches have just been washed. The famous Golden Arrow has been fixed to the streamlined casing of this Battle of Britain Pacific 257 Squadron, number 34072, which is an Oliver Bullard creation. And here's another Bullard Pacific. The engine shed you can see is an original LSWR shed, but the turntable is not, the original having been cut up in 1967. Let's have one last look at the Flockton Flyer as it steams between Norden and Corfe Castle Station. So as the Flockton flyer disappears into a cutting, from the Isle of Purbeck, I'd like to say goodbye.